Welcome to day 2 of the Back to School video series. Today is how to create the Just Right challenge to support executive functioning. I received some requests for longer videos, so I'm trying out a longer one today. I would love your feedback on if you prefer the short clips or the longer ones. With that said, I want to take a minute to outline what's in this video so you can skip ahead to sections that make sense for you and your family. First off is a science technical section of the video. We're going to go through elements of executive functioning. If it feels overwhelming at any point, please just skip it. Second section is setting the Just Right challenge. This is the meat and potatoes of the video and the big takeaways. So if you're going to pay attention, that's the section to do it on. And finally, I'm going to go through 2 back to school examples of setting a Just Right challenge. One with older kiddos, first time using agendas and schedules. And then for our littles, we're going to be talking about first experiences with homework. So there are many different elements of executive functioning depending who you talk to. They're all generally agreed on, but outlined and labeled differently depending on whose research you're looking at. Today I'm going to be using the 11 elements described by Dr. Peg Dawson, who's half of the duo behind the Smart But Scattered Kids books and programming. There's a link in the description to check out that Smart But Scattered Kids if you're curious and want to learn more. They have a lot of books and resources and videos built on a lot of solid research and experience. So highly recommend. If you want to dive into executive functioning, check out Smart But Scattered Kids. So here we go. Number 1 is response inhibition. So this is putting your hand up in class and not blurting out the answer. It's also about inhibiting your emotional responses. So it might look like not pushing your classmate who just cut in front of you when lining up for gym class. The second element is working memory. This is that ability to hold information in our brains while we perform tasks. So with little ones, we start with one-step instructions. Go get your boots. And if we try, go get your boots and your coat, they only come back with one. To older kids, having multiple step instructions: grab your coats, boots, backpack, and meet me in the garage. And then even older kids who are managing expectations and rules of multiple teachers in the same day. The third element is emotional control. And that's all about how quickly can you manage big emotions and lots of little emotions. So this could be how quickly you bounce back from being disappointed that you forgot your favorite pencil at home, to managing complex social pressures while trying to still follow your family values and rules. The fourth element is flexibility. So this is your ability to go with the flow. And it can be hard at any age. This is problem solving in the moment. So for littles, it looks like being able to continue with the group plan of doing math before lunch to practice for a quiz instead of art that usually happens before lunch. So being okay with changing the plan. Number 5 is sustained attention. So how long can you focus despite boredom, fatigue, distractions? 6 is task initiation. So that's starting what you're supposed to be doing. Not fixing your ponytail and then, oh, I need a drink. And, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. And then, oh, look at that, my shoe fell off. So how long does it take you to actually start what you're supposed to be doing? Number 7 is planning and prioritization. So how do we get everything done? And what do we do first? So with littles, maybe we're working on socks, then shoes. And for some of our older kids, we're working on how do you do your brainstorming before starting your English essay on the diploma. So you learn a lot in a very short period of time when it comes to executive functioning. Organization is number 8, and that is keeping track of things. So for littles, it might be remembering their coat. If this is familiar, check out tomorrow's video. And then for older kids, this is the difference between the kid with a mirror and an extra deodorant and a shelf just for binders in their locker, and the kid who has a locker that you can smell from down the hall with last week's rotten lunch and all their homework is crumbled up in a ball at the bottom. I might have been the latter kid, so don't worry, there's still hope. There's always hope for more organization. Number 9 is time management. How long does something take to complete, and what is your ability to meet those timelines? So for littles, this might be, can you finish your picture within the art class? And for older kids, it's, can you hand in your homework on time? Do you know how long it's going to take to do that research paper? Or are you starting it the night before and working all the way till the morning? And number 10 is goal-directed persistence. So can you follow through despite obstacles and roadblocks and lots of things getting in your way? For little ones, this is cleaning up their craft before going to snack. Can they do that? Or are they too distracted by, just wanting to go get their snack? And then older kids working hard to get the grades they need to graduate in every class, right? So big and drastic differences between what you do in the beginning and where you can get to with a little bit of work. And then the last element is metacognition. So this is the self-evaluative skills or reflection skills. How am I doing and how did I do? So for little ones, it can be as easy as, did you bring your jacket like mom asked? And for older kids, it might be reflecting on how their actions affect others when making and maintaining friends. All right, so those were the 11 elements of executive functioning. And I want you to take a minute to think about those and your child as a whole. What are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? You have to figure out which parts of everyday tasks your kid is awesome at and which ones are the hard ones. This is the biggest part of, for me anyway, for supporting executive functioning. We're going to make the part of the task your child is best at easy so that they have more brain power to focus on the hard parts, okay? So for example, in art class, the goal is working on staying in the lines. That's really hard. You have to stay focused. You have to remember the rules. There's a lot. You have to start the task. You have to get to the goal. Like all of those elements are involved in staying in the lines. So say your child is really good at listening and has a working memory for like 3-step instructions, but they're really struggling with coloring within the lines. So give them a 1-step instruction, color the dog, instead of color the dog brown with a pink nose and green eyes. This gives your kid more brain power to work on staying in the lines rather than keeping track of, was the dog's eyes blue or green, right? Oh, and I have to remember the nose is pink. Freeing up that little bit of space in their brain really helps them be able to attend to all of those different elements that they need to stay in the lines for the coloring. Another example of those like 3 steps, dropping it down to a 1-step instruction would be, instead of saying, okay, color in the dog, then cut him out and paste him next to the doghouse in our workbook. Just focusing on, okay guys, we're going to color in the dog, right? Just so they can focus all their attention on that one skill you're really working on. Once you have a good understanding of it, it's really easy to up the level of executive functioning or make it easier. Next time in art class, when they're working on labeling colors, for example, this is something your kid rocks at. Now would be a good time to try multiple step instructions. Can you paint the leaves green, the tree trunk brown, and the bird blue? And see how they do. The Just Right Challenge, one of my favorite concepts. The Just Right Challenge is understanding strengths, weaknesses, the task or goal you're working on, but also where you're at and where your kid's at. So, for example, you're making dinner and you have your kiddo coloring and you have to stop and think, okay, is this a time I want my kid to work on coloring and staying in the lines? Or is my main goal to have my kid be coloring instead of watching Trolls while I make dinner, right? So there's no correct answer, but just focus your energy on the goal you want to work on and be more flexible about the other parts. So what if the dog is green and it's scratchy? Your kid was having fun, they were coloring, they're at the table with you while you were, chopping up a salad. And if it's just like, you know what, today I really want to help them learn to color in the lines, put your attention there and do it. But then don't be distracted trying to chop vegetables and help them, um, you know, giving them tips and tricks or making sure they're pencil sharp, those sorts of ideas. So find your goal and let everything else kind of be flexible. When you're setting goals and expectations, you have to make sure they're fit with where your kiddo's at today in this moment. Sometimes they're able to color in the lines for days, and other days, if you get a pen to paper or crayon to paper, you're winning. So thinking about what else is on their plate. If your child has a dentist appointment coming up this week and a test, maybe this isn't the week to be working on making your bed every morning. Maybe actually the Just Right Challenge would be taking away a step. So say you guys were working on them making their own breakfast. This stressful week, maybe you made them French toast, right? Like whatever it might be, adjusting for what the Just Right Challenge is today. You also have to set your goals and expectations so they fit with where you're at. You're exhausted this week. You had a big presentation, there's all these phone calls, a customer wasn't happy, whatever it might be, and you're exhausted. Yeah, you and your family had planned that, this week we're going to have our kids start making their lunches. If you're drained, maybe that's not the best use of your time. Maybe you just make the lunches really quick and then you guys can sit down and have some family time that fills your bucket, Pick your battles and make sure the Just Right Challenge is serving your kids, but it's also serving you. One more point on the Just Right Challenge is to have fun when learning new or complicated things. So say you're working on working memory and remembering multiple steps. Maybe, and you're like, I'm going to use visuals. I think that's going to work great for my kids. Try learning the chicken dance and have visuals of the different steps of the chicken dance to learn the tool of using visuals. Instead of using visuals for the morning routine and how to make your bed, brush your teeth, get dressed, those sorts of things on the visual board, have fun with the chicken dance. And then if they like the tool, they know how to use the tool, it's easier to put that tool into play for the hard, challenging task of the morning routine. To put this all together, let's try an example of a fun way of teaching your child to write down their homework and then check off each task. Writing homework down is essentially using a checklist tool. So in this example, we're starting with a fun, motivating task to learn the tool and then moving to the actual goal of writing down homework. So here are 3 different ways of introducing a checklist. In our example, we're going to pretend we asked our kid what they want to do on a Saturday because it's a day off where everyone is feeling good and ready to learn something new. And we have some family time. So your kid picks baking cookies and playing soccer. So of our 3 options, the first one would be printing out a picture of 4 squares and putting breakfast in one square, leaving the next square blank, putting a picture of having lunch in the 3rd square, and then a blank square. Then you can have either the words or pictures, soccer and cookies. Then have your child pick which one we're doing when. So are they doing soccer after breakfast or are they doing cookies? Okay, and then put the other one in the blank square. Then go through your day and have breakfast. So go to your visual and say, hey, we're doing this first. Have breakfast, and then after breakfast, celebrate and check it off. So that's high five. Yeah, we did it. What's next on our list? Soccer. Again, go play soccer, come back, check it off. Okay, and then repeat through. The second one would be practicing the writing skills of creating a checklist. So maybe to help keep it fun, we're going to get a special paper with a unicorn on it, and a big number 1 and a big number 2, and have your kid write play soccer, and then under number 2 is bake cookies. Okay, and then the same thing, look at their cool unicorn sheet, make it exciting. What's the first thing we're going to do today? Oh, play soccer. Go play soccer, come back. Hey, we finished that. Check it off. And then again with bake cookies. Okay, the final example would be another part of homework is actually breaking down the task. So say you have a book report due at the end of the week. So your kid has to like know, oh, I have to read the book, and then I have to answer the questions, then I have to edit it, and then I have to, print it off and do all these things. So to practice breaking down a task, we're going to use, we're going to use that baking cookies idea again. So for baking cookies, you need to, and you can write this down together, write a grocery list, go to the store, make the dough, shape cookies onto the baking sheet, and then bake the cookies. So then make a list of all those tasks, and again, review the checklist before doing each task, and celebrate and check it off as you go through. So maybe that doesn't all happen in one day. Maybe that happens over a couple of days to help teach your kid how to achieve a big goal like that. But then when you're done, make sure you celebrate that you completed this huge task and, eat some good cookies. So then, now that your kid has one of these levels of skills, you can move it to using their agenda a lot more easily. So say they are expected to write like math page 3 and 4. Maybe you have some preset labels of math, reading, and science are their, 3 courses. So that all they have to worry about is writing down page 3 and 4 and just finding that to try and make that task easier, right? Or so depending on how they do in the fun activities, you can make the task achievable in that more difficult and less motivating realm of writing down homework. All right, so our last example here is a little one getting their first homework, which might be sight reading book every night. Okay, so I'm going to go through 2 different scenarios with very different goals based on the Just Right challenge for that kid. The first scenario is a kiddo who came home and it's 30 minutes of complaining and whining and then only 3 minutes of reading, and the reading part was pretty easy. So the focus or goal that you decide to work on is starting a task. So you want to make all the other parts easy. So have the book ready to go, have a favorite snack as a motivation for after when reading's done, have the room or where you're going to read set up in a way that works best for your child. So in this situation, it's probably having not very many distractions around. Clear out any toys that might be laying on the couch or nearby. Don't have too much clutter around, just you and the book. Okay. Then when they start to read for the first few nights, just have fun reading. Give them the answers. Don't ask too many questions about the book. Just get it done and celebrate, okay? Because we're working on starting the homework, right? You're meeting the goal, which is starting the task. Once you are doing that, that's when you get to pick your next goal and work on, actually sounding out the words or whatever your end goal might be. But you won't get there until you start the task, okay? So get this goal first, so then your whole evening isn't that 30 minutes of complaining and whining and not wanting to do it, but you can get into it, get the work done, and then move on with your evening, okay? The second example is when, say your child is eager to read with you, but then they struggle to stay focused enough to get through the whole book. This is where the fun factor comes in. You can ask questions or make silly sound effects that go along with the book. Try to incorporate more than one sense. So say your book's about weather and it's raining on the last page. Have a spray bottle that your kid gets to spray water on you at the end to make rain, right? Or if it's a story about a wolf, every time you finish a page that has a picture of a wolf, you howl at the moon together, ow! Whatever is going to keep your kid entertained. Another way to keep them going is to help with the transitions within the task. So reading a page, you can go, nice job. Can you turn the page? Or even turn the page for them. So then they don't have that time to get distracted between pages. Oh, I'm getting distracted because my cat is yelling at me. I think it's dinner time. So I guess that's my cue. I hope this video was helpful and I look forward to day 3. See you tomorrow.